Welcome dear students to another part of our class standard 10 subject English. Second lesson, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. This is our second lesson, and before going to the lesson we'll just see the main points so that you get the idea of how much part of the lesson we are doing and also the important things about the lesson. The main points, firstly, you already know who is Nelson Mandela, a very famous figure, and the lesson is taken from Long Walk to Freedom from his autobiography. It is his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. So here we will see first the apartheid. What is apartheid? Apartheid is a political system that separates people according to race. According to race, what the people are. Black people, they are different race. White people, they are different race. Mandela spent 30 years in prison. 30 years in prison. How much long continuous period of time? See, basically what happened that Mandela was somewhat educated and he was considered as a threat, so they imprisoned him. Unlike India, where many other political leaders who were there, like Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru, or even Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and other freedom fighters who were constantly being part of this our campaign. So it was easy for us. But compared to the Africa, there were no great leaders apart from him. So that created a problem for Africa for initial time, and therefore when he was in 30 years of his life in prison, at that time it was a very tough time for Africa. In 1994, Mandela won the first democratic elections with 252 of 400 seats. In the history of Africa, first time a democratic elections were held, and this elections was won by Nelson Mandela with 252 seats of the 400 seats that were contested by the party. This lesson is an extract from his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, that also you have to remember. He became Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries, 300 years of Africa being part of the, what you can say, a colony of the Europeans. It became free, and after only just period of 3 centuries, this type of Republican president was elected for Africa. Moving further, when the ceremony was conducted, the deputation. At the time, Africa being a very big country, there were 2 deputies who took oath along with president. So, like we in our states, we have a deputy, a chief minister, and that way, or even a prime minister and his deputy. So, all that type, the larger workforce is to be managed of the larger states. Then more deputies are there. So, Africa being big country, deputies were 2. So, on the basis of rank, from the lower to the higher rank, the oath of the presidentship was done. At that time, second deputy president was Dr. D. Clark, and he took, being the second deputy, first oath. First deputy president, Mr. Thabo. So these 2 first, took as deputies, and thereafter, President Mandela took the oath of presidentship. Now obviously jubilant scenes would be there on the streets after so many years of Africa's history. The Republican government of their own, democratic government of their own was set up. Democratic, definition democratic, for the people, of the people, by the people. So that was first time. So obviously the scenes of streets of Pretoria, where this main function was held, followed the ceremony with blacks, whites and colored people all together, took part in this celebration. Famous words of the president in the whole address which is given, famous words can be quoted as so many years of, enslavement and totally, suppression and oppression by the foreigners. When they are free, then here he speaks that never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. So never again that should happen, that this beautiful country should become a colony or foreigners should rule our country. We ourselves shall only learn. So with these main points in view, we'll just go through the text line by line. 10th May dawned bright and clear. Very important line, see? May time is there, and always the sun will be bright, sky will be bright with sunlight and clear all the time. But here it was special. Why? Because Nelson Mandela is writing this, and he has experienced this light of brightness of his own country, and it was extra bright for him because after so many years Africa got, what you can say, the freedom. They were a democratic nation now. For the past few days I have been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. Now, as you know, Africa was outlawed. Outlawed means it was not considered as a country that was recognized by other people, other countries, sorry. So why? Because it was ruled by foreigners, and those countries who are not democratic cannot be considered as part of the international countries. So here, when Africa became a democratic country, all the 140 odd countries, people from all over the globe, all the country leaders came and wanted to pay, or say, we can say, congratulate the nation and be part of this great celebration which took for the first time on the land of Africa. The inauguration was the largest gathering ever international leaders of South African soil. So you can see that South African soil never ever had so many countries, leaders had come and gathered over there. It was the first time, and Nelson Mandela was very proud of that. The ceremonies took place in a lovely sandstone amphitheatre, followed by Union Building in Pretoria. So in Pretoria, this function of inauguration was to be held. For decades, this land has been the seat of white supremacy. White people have been always ruling them. And now it was the site of the rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic, non-racial government. Democracy plus non-racial. Earlier it was a racist country. Racist, why? As you know, apartheid. What happened in apartheid? The separate people, were given different privileges according to their race, according to the color of the skin, and black and white, and that discrimination was that. Here there was no racial discrimination. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by daughter Zenani. Along with her daughter, she's going for the inauguration function, and on the podium, he goes with his daughter. And other thing you need to know for your common sense, GK level, is that the daughter, how many were there? 3 daughters were there of his. The first, Zenani, was of the second wife, Winnie Mandela, and a daughter, and the other 2 daughters, recently Zinzi, who was also one of the daughters, died on just day before yesterday. On 16th July, there was a headline in the news I read that was, Nelson Mandela's daughter dies at 59. She died just day before yesterday. And the other is Mackenzie Mez, the Zion. So that 3 daughters are there. 2 daughters are still alive. Zinzi died just day before yesterday. So here he recalls that in Zenani I went up a second. After that, these two people, deputies, first and second, they took oath. After that, it was the time of President himself to give the speech. So here, the speech, what he says is that being of the Republic, President always wants to uplift and keep the Constitution above or everything. To the assembled guest and watching that I say, when he assembled crowd, 140 dignitaries in front of him, he is addressing. At that time, what he said, I'll repeat his speech over here. I quote him. Today, all of us do by our presence here confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Newborn liberty, it is newly born. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long. The lasting of this, this 300 years plus in Africa never saw its own government as a welfare state. Oppression, slavery, every time. So here, that whatever in his autobiography he feels this distressful situation that prevailed. He calls that it's a long period since this type of atrocities took place. He further says, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. So now it will not be like that what happened earlier. That's the oppression and slavery. Now it will be a nation that will be proud of itself. We who are outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be the host of nations of the world on our own soil. So here, on the same soil which they are, of their own country, they are, and they've got the chance now to, and Mandela says that with these people, I am very proud to see so many dignitaries sitting in front of me. And they are part of this great historic event, the inauguration. People of the country have won, after all, common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. So here 3 things is emphasizing. Victory of justice, then for peace, and then for human dignity. Human dignity, what do you mean by human freedom? You as a democratic country, you have studied in civics many rights and duties which you have. So here, Africa didn't have it, and this newly dignity and this type of justice and peace they will have for the first time. So these people are witness, or 140 dignitaries who are present there. We have at last achieved political emancipation, freedom. Emancipation means freedom that we have achieved. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the gender and other discrimination. Even gender discrimination were there. Gender, male, female, on the basis of gender, if you discriminate, then female will become not considered equivalent to men. That discrimination was very wide in Africa, and that is also one of the things that he mentions in his speech. Then the famous words he quotes that I've explained, never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. That is the famous lines of Mandela's speech. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Sun will never set. This opening of human achievement is there. That will remain. Let freedom reign, God bless Africa. So that way he concludes his speech over there. A few minutes later, we all lifted our eyes at a spectacular array of South Africa's jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. So first time historic free country with democratic process, president is elected, a free country, and so all those jet planes and helicopters and other carriers which were there, as you see on the Republic and the Independence Day, the show off which is done by our military force and the air force, and that thing is same happening in Africa for the first time. The Union building, it was only a display of pinpoint precision and military force. Pinpoint precision, as you see when the array of aeroplanes in the sky at uniform speed and view you have of that. The new government that has been freely and fairly elected only moments before, the highest generals of South African Defence Force. So here present were also highest generals of the Defence Force. The chest bedecked with ribbons and so bedecked means they're wearing the ribbons and medals on the chest over here on the uniform. That is bedecked means decorated, adorned by them, proud. They feel proud of that. So bedecked on them. The medals from days gone by saluted me and pledged their loyalty. Saluted him and pledged the devotion that will be devoted. In here, he wants to point out in the next sentence that these same people who are saluting me and showing loyalty to me, some years back, when Africa was under the oppression of the colony, at that time, these white people would have never said that. On the contrary, rather than saluting, they would have arrested him and put him in jail whenever he saw them. So this way, the irony of the situation also, see, some few years back, he was considered as their rival, their person always haunted by the white people. And here again, you can see what happens is the situation changes and they are actually saluting him now. I was not unmindful of the fact that it says that finally a chevron of Impala with left, this type of show is always there in the air now. So, the smoke that is released or that colored hue that you get. Here also Africa's color of the flag, black, red, green, blue and gold. That was the flag of Africa. So that was being, seen in the sky, the African flag. The day was symbolized for me by playing of our two national anthems. Two national anthems Africa still today has. And these African anthems were Kosi, Sikel, I Africa, and the other was Die Stem. So these two were sung by the blacks and the whites separately because they had, the whites spoke to that anthem which was not used, they were not used to, and blacks spoke those which they were not used to. And therefore, Mandela in his biography says that both these group of people don't know the lyrics of this anthem, but slowly they will come to know and learn both these anthems by heart. So till here we conclude our lesson up till here. This is the end of our session today. We will continue with our subject on the next part of our class. Thank you.